What is up? Welcome back to another episode of the Collective Podcast. This one is going to get a little dicey. This one is going to ruffle some feathers because, Shane, I think more than any other time in our industry, we are watching people jump ship. We are watching leaders subtweet them after jumping ship. We are watching companies lose their minds trying to figure out, why is there no loyalty? Why do people not want to stick around? Why will somebody go to greener pastures so quickly? And spoiler alert, we think we've figured out why this is happening.
Well, I think why this is such a key topic and why I'm so passionate about it is we could take the framework of this and look at it from an executive's perspective.
Yeah.
We could take the framework of this and look at it from an LO trying to grow their network with referral partners, that perspective. We could take it as somebody who's brand new to the business. I've sat in every one of those seats. And I remember a time I was an executive and people would go, Shane, you were an executive. You don't sound or look like an executive. There was a reason for that. But I was blessed to have a unique opportunity to join a company that was in a retail lender that was in transition. The company owner had some really cool, creative, lofty goals. Didn't have the bandwidth to wear all the hats that he was wearing.
Yeah.
And so I came in with this vision of building these kind of pod franchise style branches and do some cool stuff. And then COVID hit. I mean, I think I was in the town signing my contract when it hit in Seattle.
Golly.
And fast forward a year, 6 months to a year, and we had been slogging, man, through trying to transition the mindset, the behavior, the persona, the avatar of our originator from one that was dying to one that was thriving.
Yeah.
And we made some key mistakes, and specifically I made some key mistakes. And I remember vividly a day I had said to the CEO, said, I'm fried, man. I need a couple of days. I used to do this where I'd go out for a couple of days and take a break, and I hadn't taken a vacation. I've been traveling a lot back and forth. And like 12 hours into my time off, he calls me. I'm like, I'm so sorry to call you. Our number one originator, we just caught him leaving and recruiting people. And within a matter of 12 hours from that point, we had lost anywhere from 25 to 40% of our production.
Wow.
Out the door. And these are people that I was starting to build some relationship with, but they'd been there years. They had deep roots. And really what came out of that was this complete disconnect between what we thought they were, with us, where we had a complete disconnect in the type of relationship that we thought we had. And what we ultimately found was what they perceived us as was just a product that they could compare and contrast. And if the product no longer served them and they couldn't get the cheapest rates, the highest comp, we wouldn't say yes to their demands. They basically had been holding us hostage, kind of unbeknownst to us, and probably holding the CEO hostage for years. And he had just been doing everything he could to not appease them by intention, but support them.
Yeah.
But it was really an appeasement. And it was such a slap across the face for me because I'd been brought in to grow this organization and we were shrinking. And as I sat there in my hotel room, coming home early from my trip to help try to put out the fires and solve this, looking back now, it was a moment where we were at this kind of at I don't even know what you call it when you're sitting and the pendulum swinging and you're like, which way are we going to go?
Right.
And I think this is so important because whether you're an executive and you have this frustration around LO loyalty, you're working your tail off, your team you're pouring more and more resources, probably at a loss or at best at break even, if we're being honest right now. You're extremely frustrated because you're giving, and you don't get the output that you should for the input.
Right.
Or you're an LO and you're desperately looking to add more referral partners because we were just sitting down with my brokerage and we one of my LOs said, I'm doing more of the good things this year than I did last year and I'm getting a lower result. And that's just because the market has shifted. Things have changed. I mean, we live in a very high cost market. What used to get you a certain return is no longer getting that return, not right or wrong. And so you got to do more input to get the same output. So you need more referral partners. And man, it should be great if they were loyal. It should be good if they saw you with this healthy understanding of value. And yet, what happens? An LO gets a call from a company saying, hey, I'll put you on a private plane. I'll give you a bonus, and they're off. And then all of a sudden, all their buddies are gone too. And then 2 years later, they're doing it again. And all leaving good companies or what were, advertised as good companies for the next great company. And you go, man, what's off here? What's off? Or an LO who just works their ass off to build a relationship with a real estate agent, works 7 days a week, takes a call in their Sunday morning Bible study at church to help with the pre-approval. And you're going, man, there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
There's got to be a healthier dynamic because this ain't working. And I've been in those seats. Or you're new and you're going, I got to grow and I got to grow quick because my company's not giving me a salary.
Yeah.
Because if they are, there's some really severe golden handcuffs that will hold you back from ever being entrepreneurial. And you're going, I got to start making money quick. And so then you start to really change your values. You go, well, maybe I will work with those, that type of a client that's going to shop me every day until the day of closing. Or maybe I will start to work Sunday afternoons or whatever. You're just starting to morph who you said you wanted to be and why you got into the industry for what you think you have to be because you're broke.
Right.
Or you're exhausted, or there's zero loyalty and you're defeated, even if you're a multi-million-dollar CEO. And that's why this conversation is so important because myself, 14 years in the business, some amazing people I've been able to surround myself with. I have a personal coach in Australia now who I meet with 3 days a week. I've been with David Goggins. I've been with amazing athletes from the NFL. You have had amazing people in your life. You travel the country, meet top producers. We sat down and we started saying, wait a minute, we see some threads here that are common.
Right.
And it comes back to social media because this is where a lot of these relationships start.
Yeah.
It's where a lot of this engagement begins. It's where you're attempting to build trust initially.
Yep.
And yet what we've done is we've taken a platform designed two ways. One, for extraction of data for revenue via ads and things like that, but also as a digital community.
Right.
And yet what do? We take this digital community ecosystem, and instead of asking ourselves, how do I show up in a digital community in a way that aligns with my value structure, my expertise, my time, my, everything, my whole business construct. And instead we treat it like it's marketing in the 1980s.
Yeah.
It's a billboard to sell my latest product. Or we think that it's an advertisement. And so I need to be pilfering my wares daily to an audience that has zero desire for our product until they have a desire for our product.
Right.
And then we wonder why it doesn't work. And so instead of saying, I'm doing it wrong, we say it's wrong. It doesn't work. It's broke. I'm not a 20-year-old cheerleader, and so TikTok doesn't work for me. Or we say, well, LinkedIn is for tech professionals and recruiters, and that's why it's not working for me. Or, well, Facebook doesn't really align with me because I'm too young, too old, too whatever. And the reality is it has nothing to do with that. It's because we don't show up online intentionally with a persona that aligns with the outcomes that we want to receive.
And are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
This is going to be very, very tweetable. even though it's not called Twitter anymore.
Xable? Is it Xable now?
Is it? See, that's why the name change was so dumb, because nobody would go, "Hey, bro, what'd you X today?"
Yeah, that would sound weird.
Say that. But here's where I think the biggest mistake has been made. LOs have mailed it in where they're seen the most.
Yeah, 100%. Right? And CEOs and executives, they're not even mailing it in. Most of them aren't even there.
100%. And you and I haven't run this idea by you. So sometimes on these episodes, I say something and you're like, yeah, well, maybe, but maybe it's more like this.
Let's just throw it out there. Let's just launch
analogy goes. But do you remember the movie The Truman Show, where Jim Carrey's character? He's living his life and he has no realization of that, like his life is actually a show that the whole world is watching. And man, I think that like most LOs are living in the Truman Show, unaware that people are actually watching their lives. So when all people see is them posting rates, them posting production numbers, them posting about a new program, them posting a selfie at a mortgage event, like in their minds, they think, I'm doing this to check the boxes. I'm doing this because somebody else told me I need to. Nobody's really paying attention here. So I'm not going to actually give it my best, only to find out this has been live the whole time to the entire world. Wow, if I would have realized that, I would have showed up better and more often and with sincerity and with a desire to help people. And I think people are living in the Truman Show. And so we've come up with 3 personas as to how you can show up online. And I think we should save 2 of them completely for the next episode of the show. We won't even say it. I think we should finish this episode talking about the bad thing.
The one that most people show up as most often.
Yep.
And call it an identity, call it a persona. But yeah, I was a lot of the times I come up with ideas, it's through conversation where it was completely unintended.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting down with my group and like my Tourette's or something kicks in and I said a swear word and it just triggered something. I said, you know what, guys? Because I was sitting in a room with LOs and I get so fired up because I just want people to succeed.
Yeah.
And they were struggling. And I get it. I've struggled. I've done that exact thing they were talking about. And I said, Gabby, the problem is, Terry, the problem is, there's a bunch of them there, and everyone has the same problem. I said, you are showing up online. You are showing up at coffee. You are showing up in your lead call as a vendor. Mm. And they kind of looked at me. I said, I got a good buddy who works for Cisco, and he sells, doormats, soap, paper towels, and toilet paper to companies. And you might kind of smirk or kind of laugh, but that company makes a hell of a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
So it's not glamorous. It's extremely profitable. And he works there. He went to college with me. And imagine if 5 years after college, well, I'm many years, I'm 42, so I'm 20 years out of college. Imagine if 20 years after college, this guy reaches out to me. Hey, Shane, how are you? Man, it's so good to see you and hear your voice. And man, I'd love to connect. Hey, I wanted to talk to you about our latest floor mat offering. I'm instantly feeling like a cheap piece of meat.
Yeah.
Instantly. Or here's another example. I had a really good friend in college that was a volunteer fireman. We were both working together. We met in EMT school. And this was a stage in life where we were both young men learning how to be real men, maturing, going through life. Life just kind of happened, and he veered one direction, I veered another, and we just lost touch. Not right, not wrong, just lost touch. And he became a fireman, I became a fireman, then I retired and I went into business. And all of a sudden I see him on LinkedIn. He's advertising as a real estate agent, still a fireman. And then he reaches out and says, hey man, it's been a long time. my dad passed away and it just had me reflect on life. Would love to get together. And I'm like, I'm thinking in my head, it's about time. I really wanted to catch up. This guy was one of my best friends in college.
Yeah.
So we go out to lunch and we sit down, and within 5 minutes, I felt something and my shoulders slumped, and I realized, this guy's asking me, so how'd you get into mortgage? How'd you start making money? What were you doing to market? And I'm going, oh my gosh, this guy's a vendor just trying to take something from me. And I felt really defeated. I felt, man, it's like, wow, I thought this guy was going to like apologize for losing touch and catch up on life. And I had so much going on in my life that I wanted to share with him. And yet he was there for himself.
Yeah.
He was a vendor. And here's the problem. Somebody's going to listen to this big. Yeah, I know a guy online, he's crushing it, pushing his mortgage products. That is true. It's not that you can't win if you identify as a vendor. It's that there's one or two that will, and the rest will lose.
Right.
And think about any vendor relationship. The problem with positioning yourself and identifying as a vendor, you are now telling your audience to compare and contrast and to shop you because you're a vendor. So my friend says, hey man, I was thinking about the floor mats and how great that'd be for your business. And I do need floor mats. We got a lot of dust, a lot of dirt coming in my space. My head, I instantly go, okay, cool. Not a friend, vendor. Okay. Hey man, I don't have time today. Maybe in 2 weeks, would you reach back out? I start to shift how I speak to that person because he's now told me, hey, I'm here as a vendor.
Right.
Or now I'm saying, okay, cool. What do you charge? You charge $99 a month. Man, I feel like I could probably get it for $85 a month. I'm instantly comparing and shopping.
Right.
And whether you're an executive trying to recruit LOs, isn't this what you're doing? Well, hey, here's your comp, here's your signing bonus, here's your products. And then you start saying yes to all their questions. Well, are you available on weekends? Yep. What if I need a rush on a file? Yep. Is your underwriter going to work only on my files? Yep. Do you have this technology? Will you let me use my own CRM? Yep. And then what happens as soon as your yeses become a maybe, or the market changes and a yes has to become a no? They shop you again. They go to the next company who has a private jet warmed up on the tarmac, ready to pick them up and give them a signing bonus. So, you're a vendor. Or what about, you're the LO working with agents and you go out to coffee and you sit down thinking that this person might actually like you. And we're going to get into the other two personas later. And you think you've showed up and identified yourself in a way that you've got loyalty, high loyalty factor, high trust factor, high likability. And they go, and you do one of a couple cardinal sins. You walk in with a flyer and you're just telegraphing to them, treat me like a vendor.
Yeah.
And then you sit down and they indicate that they see you as a vendor because we've brainwashed them into that. And their companies have coached them into this. And they say, where's your underwriting team? Are they local or are they online? Do you guys do low FICO loans? Do you have a renovation product? What kind of technology do you use to help me grow my business? Do you guys do any branding? Do you guys buy Zilloids? You are a vendor. You're a vendor. And again, you as an LO, similarly to the executive, can say yes to all those things. And then in 6 months, you're like, this vendor relationship sucks. I hate working 7 days a week for this guy to send me his crappy deals. Or as an executive, I'd say yes to somebody. And then I'm like, this LO is garbage. They're disrespectful to the ops team. They're asking or making demands when they're not even reading guidelines. Yeah. They expect high pay for low quality work. And again, we're out of alignment. And the reality is that scenario plays out time and time and time and time again. And people, to your point, they're showing up, giving moderate to low effort, thinking that people aren't watching them online. When the reality is that vendor dynamic, that real estate agent tells you they feel, that started months before you ever sat down to have coffee.
That's it. And so I think we have laid the groundwork for what will be a fascinating next 2 episodes where we break down the 2 personas that we believe, or avatar, right? Call it what you want, but that we believe is the healthy, life-giving way for somebody to show up online that will help them win And so we're going to break those down on the next 2 episodes. And here, Shane, I think we should get t-shirts made that say, "Don't be the V word."
I don't know. That could go so many directions in so many different places.
Dude, come on. That feels pretty good to me. I'll print one and I'll wear it and we'll see what happens.
I'm going to get my hoodie that says "Nobody cares, work harder." And I'm going to say, "Nobody cares, don't be a vendor." Because nobody cares about your product, really. Nobody cares about your rate, really. They care about the product they need at the moment they need it. They care about the rate for what they're purchasing, when they're purchasing it. The LO doesn't really care about the company with the fastest turn time, per se. And the reality is that I'm excited to get into these next 2 because there is life on the other side where you don't have to have a paid advertising structure on Facebook to win. You don't have to have the most impressions to grow a mortgage company and recruit the right people in the right way. You don't have to project yourself as what you think that top 1% originator is doing on Instagram if that's not you. And what they're doing isn't actually what got them to that status anyways.
Right.
And so, stay tuned and dig into the conversation and be willing to audit yourself. How are you showing up online? And if you say to yourself, inconsistently, but sometimes as a vendor, the reality is what people remember is again, let the obvious be your guide. If somebody sits down with you at coffee and they start into those vendor questions, you have done an effective job of achieving failure. You have shown up effectively as a vendor, whether you made a college try or not. That's how they see you, and that's what they're going to treat you as.
Guys, this is the depth of conversation that we have in the collective. This is how we coach and train. This is how we bring value to your business. And so if you've been hanging around, if you've been listening to some episodes, you need to come be a part of what we're doing at the collective. You can go to thecollectivecoaching.com to find out more. And I'll tell you real quick, we've just added some pretty cool stuff inside of our program, inside of our platform. We're giving you scripts every month for videos to bring you opportunity. We're providing you with weekly scripts to use in your DMs to create and build rapport and connections with people. Guys, there's so much going on. And for $97 a month, you cannot beat it anywhere else. So come check us out and then get ready, because in the next episode, we'll begin to break down who do you want to be online. We'll give you the framework, the blueprint. We'll see you then.